Hey guys, it's Amazon Cosplay, and today I'm remaking a video that I had up like last week, and I accidentally deleted it, which is like a whole thing that I'm not really gonna get into. So yeah, so basically this is just that video remade. So today I'm starting a brand new series called Fandom Finds, where I specifically take a fandom that I've either been in or just had a lot of experiences with, and I'm just going to talk about like how it affected me, like who I've met, and like my experiences basically like with this fandom. So today we're going to be talking about like basically my very first like well-known fandom. Like I guess you could say I was in the Monster High fandom when I was younger, like if that's, I don't even know if that's considered like a fandom, but we're going to be talking about the My Little Pony fandom, or like bronies or Pegasisters or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, um basically like back when I was in 6th grade, I was into My Little Pony, which I guess is like maybe slightly too old to like be into that. But I mean, obviously there's bronies who are like 20, 50 years old who are into the fandom. It's like if I want to be in that fandom, like I guess not a big deal, right? Anyway, so quick story about how I got into the fandom. One day these kids in my class are making fun of this one other kid for like watching the show, and like even though I don't think he did watch the show, they were like, oh, ha ha ha, you watch My Little Pony, blah blah blah. And then like for some reason in my mind I'm like, oh, maybe I should watch the show. But I think it's because like back when I was like really young, like maybe 4 or something, like it was the old generation of My Little Pony, and like I was really into that, and like I had all the dolls and stuff for that. So I decided to like go home and like watch the show. So I did, and I ended up like kind of enjoying it and stuff. And then I called up my best friend, who is still my best friend now, and I'm like, hey, remember how they were making fun of that kid yesterday? Like, I watched the show and it's like pretty good. And then like my friend got into the show, and like we just had like the craziest like fucking experience with this fandom, and like we were so into it. Like I had my OC and she had her OC, and like they were related, and they were like really edgy, and like they were like discorded, like they were like insane, and like my character like killed people, and like I had like a whole fan fiction. Like I would rewrite like whole songs and whole episodes like to fit like my friends and I's OCs and stuff. And like we would call like a bunch of different people in our class like different pony names, or like we'd make up OCs for them and stuff. And like I remember this like one dude in our class, like he hated like when we talked about it, but he was like into the show, and like he claimed that he was like in love with Twilight Sparkle or something. It was like really weird. But my main thing is like I had an Instagram for my OC, which is like a big thing that people did like back then. Like a bunch of people would just have like fan accounts for like different characters, and like it was like a role play thing. And like I remember one day this kid had like wanted to know if like, well, I had posted like, does anybody want to role play? And this kid was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then he added me to a kick group, and like I just, I've been friends with these people ever since. Like I've met the person who contacted me about it. I met like a bunch of people I ended up dating, and like most of like my really good friends are from them, and like I met some of them, as I said, and like things like that. So that was a good experience. But of course there's obviously bad experiences. There's a lot of like weird like pedophiles, I guess, like in the fandom, or like who are like, because grown men are into the show. So like there's obviously like a couple of like weirdos who are into the show also. And I remember like specifically like this one account would like try and pick up like some of the younger girls, and like I think they're still like up and running today. So whatever. And Specifically, I remember I was at a convention with my one friend. Like, this was after I had gotten out of the fandom. This like Rainbow Dash cosplayer like approached me and my friend and wanted to hang out, but we were like 13 and he's like, "Oh, I'm 21. Like, I don't see a big problem with that. Like, let's go." And like, to a panel. Like, I don't think he had like any malicious intent. Like, some bronies are like socially awkward and it's like they want to just like hang out and stuff, and like I get that, but we're 13, or maybe we were 12 at the time. No, we were 13. And it's like that's creepy and like I don't want to hang out with you and stuff like that. But I also know that one guy who I'm going to talk about in another video, he was a brony and he like kind of stalked like me and my friend, and it was kind of weird. And yeah, but basically I haven't had too much trouble with the fandom, and like, there's obviously like the like fedora wearers and like the people like the cloppers who make like the gross fan art and stuff, which like is common, like really common. And like there's like really like edgy people who are into it, like people who like make the weird fan fictions like cupcakes. But I think the My Little Pony fandom is like one of the most creative fandoms, like, and has like pioneered like fandoms almost, because like they got so into it. Like there's countless like fan art and fan songs and like even like movies and like animations and stuff. Like some of the stuff, like I still like kind of enjoy the show now. Like I wasn't really into it for like a long time, but like I recently got back into it, and the show is like kind of dark now, which is kind of weird, but I think they're kind of like maturing it up, because I think they know that majority of their fan base isn't little kids anymore, and like never really was to begin with. But I think the show is still good, and I think sometimes the bad can outweigh the good in the situations. But I think if you maybe like give the show like a chance, maybe you'll end up liking it. And even though it's kind of cringy and it's like very little kiddish, in for like the most part, I think it's still pretty good. And it's kind of like how a lot of people are into like Miraculous Ladybug or like Sailor Moon, because those are like technically like kid shows, but and they're cheesy, but like they're pretty good and they have like a decent storyline and stuff like that. And I think, whatever. But that's basically all I have to say. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about next, like what fandom, or if you've had an experience with this fandom and stuff like that. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.